The United States Surgeon General just declared something most people already feel in their bones. We are in a loneliness epidemic. 1 in 4 adults say they feel completely isolated, disconnected, invisible. But you chose this. You looked at your phone, you saw their name, and you decided, not today, not anymore. And here is the part nobody wants to talk about. You don't feel lonely. You don't feel broken. You have never, not once, felt more at peace. So what is actually going on inside your mind? Because science has an answer, and it is far more fascinating than anyone gives you credit for. You were not always like this. There was a version of you that picked up every call, answered every text, showed up to every crisis that wasn't even yours. You were the one people called when their world fell apart at 2 in the morning. You were the family member who kept the peace at dinner when everything wanted to explode. You listened to the same complaints, gave the same advice, watched them ignore it, and then come back to do it all over again. And then something shifted. You stopped picking up. And the world did not end. It actually got quieter. Your chest unclenched. You sat in the silence and realized, this is what I have been starving for. That moment was not weakness. That was your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here is where it gets interesting. Psychologist Dr. Stephen Porges developed what is known as polyvagal theory, and it explains everything. Your nervous system is not a single switch. It has multiple modes, and one of those modes exists for one purpose only: protection. When you have been emotionally drained enough times, when people have consistently taken more than they have given, your brain does not wait for your permission. It flips a switch on its own. It moves you from open social connection mode into what researchers call the dorsal vagal response: shutdown, withdrawal, conservation. Not because you're damaged, because your nervous system is doing its job, treating your energy like the finite resource it actually is. But here is the deeper question. Where did your brain learn that people were a threat in the first place? For most people who are nodding right now, the answer goes back further than they would like to admit. Maybe you grew up reading The Room before you could read books, scanning your parents' face the second they walked through the door, trying to calculate the mood before a single word was spoken, learning that love and unpredictability came as a package deal. Psychologist Murray Bowen spent decades studying this exact pattern. He called it emotional cutoff. What happens when a child learns early that closeness always comes with a cost? So you adapted. You became hyper-aware. You could feel tension enter a room before anyone else noticed it. And you learned, quietly and completely, that the safest place was often alone. Now, as an adult, that same blueprint activates every time someone gets too close. It is not a flaw. It is a survival strategy your younger self wrote to protect you. And it worked. But here is the part that gets complicated, because not all cutting off is the same thing. The CDC reports that prolonged social isolation raises your risk of heart disease by 29% and stroke by 32%. It's not just emotional damage, it's physical. Your body keeps the score. But what they do not put in those statistics is this: being surrounded by the wrong people is just as damaging. So how do you know which one you're doing? Walls block everyone: the good, the bad, the uncertain. They are built from fear. Boundaries are selective. They are built from self-knowledge. If you removed someone from your life and felt relief, that's data. If you felt peace, that's not isolation, that's protection. The question was never whether to let people in. The question is, which people deserve access to your energy? And you already know. You've been watching them for years. Here is what's genuinely remarkable about people who cut others off. A 2023 study in Nature Neuroscience found that people who experienced early emotional stress developed significantly heightened activity in the brain's threat detection regions. In plain language, your brain got extraordinarily good at reading people. Researchers at the University of Iowa found that the frontal lobe, the part responsible for complex social decisions, works at a much higher level in people with this kind of background. You are not paranoid. You're not too sensitive. You are processing social information at a depth most people never reach. That ability to sense when something is off, that is not anxiety. That is thousands of hours of lived experience compressed into an early warning system. And when it tells you that someone will drain you, you have learned to listen. Society has a word for people like you: isolated, withdrawn, antisocial. But those words assume something is missing, that you're somehow incomplete without constant noise and company. Here is a better word: solitude. Loneliness is the absence of connection you want. Solitude is the presence of peace you chose. You're not sitting alone wishing someone would call. You are sitting in your own space, finally able to hear yourself think. The quiet feels like relief, not rejection. People who don't understand will say you're running away, but you know the truth. You are not running away from anything. You are running towards something,
toward clarity, toward calm, toward a version of yourself that simply cannot exist inside constant chaos. That is not isolation. That's sanctuary. And if you're watching this wondering if something is wrong with you, hear this clearly. You are not cold. You're not heartless. You are not incapable of love. You are someone who learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to your peace. And instead of letting that lesson make you better, you made a choice to protect what matters, to build a life that feels gentle rather than chaotic. Harvard's 85-year study on happiness found one consistent truth across thousands of lives. It's not about how many people you have. It's about having the right ones. If your circle is small but full of people who actually see you, you are not doing it wrong. You are doing it right. Protect your peace.